Welcome to watch the top 10 Qatar World Cup 2022 rumors and controversies explained. The idea of staging the World Cup in the desert has been contentious since its announcement, but when Qatar got the tournament, that would not have been an option for the city of Doha. The average temperature in July can reach 42.4 degrees Celsius or 108 Fahrenheit. Average summer temperatures in Qatar can reach the mid-40s. So for the first time, the World Cup has been moved to the end of the year. Not great for players to run about for 90-odd minutes, as it can be dangerous. So the World Cup in Qatar is from November to December, when the temperature averages up to 29.7 degrees Celsius or 85 Fahrenheit, with cooling tech in stadiums to help reduce it further. And we have a lot of sensors dotted around the stadium to give me the temperature, air temperature, radiation, and the amount of humidity we have. And then we have a big computer room that will look into balancing all these elements. However, the winter switch messes with many professional leagues who have gone on a break to compensate for the World Cup number 9 naturalizing. Players over the years, Qatar's Football Association has naturalized non-Qatari players to give them a leg up on the international scene as they try to qualify for a World Cup, which they never have until doing so by becoming hosts. So Qatar will host. In 2022 World Cup, despite never playing in a tournament before, some former stars that got this treatment include Sebastian Soria, originally from Uruguay, and Brazil's Emerson Sheik. In 2004, the nation attempted to bring Brazilians Day, Leonardo, and Aiton to help qualify them for the 2006 World Cup. Even though none of them had played in or had any ties to Qatar, wanted to naturalize all three of them in 2004, even though none of the Brazilians had any ties with the country whatsoever. Qatar is usually strict when it comes to citizenship. FIFA swept in, rejected the moves, and changed eligibility rules to make them stricter. Number 8, paid fans. If you have to offer many incentives to bring over fans to an event, well, maybe that should be a warning sign for whether it should go ahead. Alongside rumors of Qatar bringing in fake fans to boost PR, the group, called the Fan Leader Network, has gone further. They offered to pay for the flights and match tickets for some England and Wales fans. All they have to do is attend select promotional events and stay for at least 14 days. Reportedly, around 40 fans from each nation have signed up for this offer. Under the terms and conditions, the fans have to promote the event and tell authorities about social media posts that criticize the World Cup. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. Number 7, massive costs. Hosting a World Cup is a pricey endeavor. For the 2010 edition, South Africa spent a whopping $3.5 billion. Well, Qatar needed to spend a lot more to meet FIFA's requirements. 8 stadiums, 7 of which are new, 45 training sites, a new metro, a new airport, cruise ships that are going to be housing thousands of fans. After all, they needed air-conditioned stadiums. Transport, accommodation, training, facilities, and more. According to estimates, it's believed the country has spent an eye-watering $220 billion. That's more than 16 times what Russia said it spent on the 2018 World Cup. A portion of this was spent to build the new city of Lusail. Since we mentioned accommodation, Qatar, along with other options, promoted to fans the use of 5-star beach camping in the desert. However, tournament goers have been left frustrated at the high price and lack of availability in places. Some of the football villages have been likened to the ill-fated Fire Festival. Number 6. Alcohol. For many, drinking and football go hand in hand. It helps with celebrating victory or drowning your sorrows. So if you can't get hammered at the actual World Cup, if you're watching it in various other places, you can drink your Bud Light and Budweiser and enjoy it. But since Qatar is a conservative religious state, some nations and manufacturers have been concerned about the rules on alcohol. Qatar allows its consumption in bars, hotels, and some other areas as long as you're 21 or over. However, it's prohibited in public places. Well, it was always going to be one of the big talking points, wasn't it? In the lead up to this World Cup, was alcohol going to be made available here in an Islamic country? There will be zones at the events such as the FIFA Fan Festival where alcohol is available. But just 2 days before the tournament, FIFA announced that alcohol wouldn't be sold in stadiums except in corporate areas. But now this very late decision, 2 days before the opening? Game of the tournament, Qatar against Ecuador. Top-level talks have led to the decision to ban alcohol completely from being sold to fans. The move was criticized by the Football Supporters Association as a quote last-minute U-turn which speaks to a wider problem. The total lack of communication and clarity from the organizing committee towards supporters. Number 5 bargaining Beckham. Joe Lycett is a national treasure in the UK. If he isn't trolling everyone, he can be found taking a stand against a big problem. And that brings us to David Beckham. For Qatar to host this World Cup in 2022, he's very special with David Beckham, one of its richly rewarded stars. Wow, thank you so much. But might it prove costly to his hard-earned reputation? The former footballer has garnered a lot of controversy by taking a big paycheck estimated as high as £150 million to promote the Qatar World Cup despite a dubious human rights history. More on that later. Qatar. They surprised me with a wide range of great experiences you can have in just 48 hours. Lisa brought up Beckham's status as a gay icon in the UK and challenged the Manchester United legend to pull out of the event. If he agrees, the comedian will donate £10,000 to LGBTQ+ charities. If Beckham ignores the ultimatum, Lysette will shred the cash instead. The ball's in Beck's court. However, if you do not let midday next Sunday, I will throw this money into a shredder. Just before the opening ceremony of the World Cup. Number 4 worldwide boycotts. While FIFA seems to like to pretend that everything's okay, others around the world not so much. Australia have become the first World Cup team to release a collective statement criticizing Qatar's human rights record. Numerous groups around the globe have called for a boycott of the 2022 tournament. Norwegian club Tromsø IL called on their country's football association to snub the event, but they refused. Fans in Germany pressured our association as well, only for the plea to also be ignored. But it's clear that the years of criticism, particularly on the issue of migrant workers, won't simply melt away once the football is underway. And indeed, some of it will come from the teams themselves. With the protests going on in Iran, former Iranian national player Sosha Makhani called on fans to boycott the tournament or create slogans to highlight the government's murder of protesters. Several cities in France, including Paris, won't be broadcasting the World Cup as a protest against Qatar's human rights record and the environmental impact of the event. Some cities in Europe do not plan on promoting the match. Most of them are in France, the likes of Paris. They have decided to not show matches on big screens or set up exclusive fan zones during the tournament. Number 3 corruption allegations. Ever since it was announced that Qatar was going to host the 2022 World Cup, the event has been tarnished by allegations of corruption from the outset. Officials have insisted everything was above board when people say, "How did you win the World Cup?" You know the simplest answer, and I assure you and I promise you it is not said in any way, with any arrogance. We were the best bid. Qatari national Mohammed bin Hammam, who was the president of the Asian Football Confederation, was subsequently banned for life by FIFA for allegedly bribing other executives to vote for his country. The Supreme Committee maintains, it says, that it strictly adhered to all the rules and regulations for the 2018-22 FIFA World Cup bidding process and that any claim to the contrary, it's baseless and would be fiercely contested. This exploded in 2015 when numerous FIFA higher-ups that allegedly received payments were arrested on corruption charges, including the former president of CONCACAF, Jack Warner. Others reportedly involved include FIFA General Secretary Jerome Valcke, FIFA President Sepp Blatter and Joel Havlang and UEFA President Michel Platini. Platini is being held for questioning by French authorities at the anti-corruption office outside Paris. Numerous other host nations have also been accused of corrupted bids as the FIFA scandal had been going on for years. Number 2. LGBTQ+ rights. One of the biggest fears for fans with Qatar hosting the World Cup was the nation's treatment of the LGBTQ+ community. We are demanding from FIFA, from the Qatari government, that LGBT+ football fans who traveled to Qatar to enjoy the sport are safe and protected and can be their authentic selves. Just being gay in the country is enough to get you arrested, receive a fine or be locked up. With pressure from FIFA and the world, Qatar eased its approach by allowing rainbow flags within stadiums. Some competing nations will also wear a rainbow captain armband to support LGBTQ+, England captain Harry Kane to join with Wales captain Gareth Bale in announcing they will wear a One Love armband for the tournament. However, this hasn't put everyone's minds at ease, especially after Qatar ambassador and former footballer Khalid Salman claimed that homosexuality was quote damage in the mind and warned gay people that they would have to accept the country's rules when they visited. The sermon interview was swiftly cut short by a World Cup organizing committee press officer before more harm could be done. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Working conditions. As soon as Qatar began building for the World Cup, the conditions of workers were called into question. These laborers mostly come from Bangladesh, India, Pakistan and Nepal. Their workplace rights, conditions and treatment has been questioned by human rights groups. The nation has a population of 2 million migrant workers and many thousands are subjected to forced labor and not permitted to leave the country, amounting to modern-day slavery. Eventually, after a lot of pressure, Qatar agreed to reforms. But many groups like Amnesty International have reported continued abuses. Qatar's government agreed to improve working standards, introduce minimum wages, and it's promised other reforms. Reportedly, several thousand migrant workers have died to protest the human rights violations. Denmark plans to wear quote toned-down shirts at the tournament, including one black kit the color of mourning FIFA. Not enjoying the negative association pleaded with nations to stop highlighting issues and quote focus on the football. Please do not allow football to be dragged into every ideological or political battle that exists at FIFA. We try to respect all opinions and beliefs without handing out moral lessons to the rest of the world. Please let's now focus on the football. Did you enjoy this video?